All right, well, why don't we get started, folks? Well, good afternoon, everyone on the East Coast. Good morning to those on the West Coast. For those who don't know me, my name is Ethan Marcus. I am the managing director of the Sephardic Jewish Brotherhood of America, La Hermandad Sefaradit de America, the national umbrella organization of the Ladino-speaking Sephardic community of the United States, primarily from Greece and Turkey originally, and the Balkans as well. We're here today in partnership with Kehila Kedoshei Yanana Synagogue and Museum for a special presentation on applying for Greek citizenship as an American, a Q&A with a great attorney based in Thessaloniki, Greece, who we'll get to in just a moment. Just as a reminder, this program is through our wonderful Sephardic Digital Academy, an online center of Sephardic learning and culture, where you can learn more, whether it be Ladino language courses, Sephardic Torah courses, Sephardic cooking, Greek language, history, and so much more. If you're interested in learning more about all our other programs, including the Sephardic Digital Academy, please check out our website at sephardicbrotherhood.com. Now, we're really happy to have here, I'm not going to pronounce the name right, but it's Carissa Short.
It's better to use Carissa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Akrita, who is a native of Thessaloniki, Salonika, like many of our families here and today in Greece. She completed law school at the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki with a master's degree in general public law from the University of Strasbourg, France, and she's been a lawyer, including at the Court of Appeals of Greece since 2015, excuse me. And her specialty is real estate law and citizenship law. So without further ado, I'll turn over the presentation to Carissa.
Hello to everybody. Nice to meet you. I'm very glad that we have such a big participation, as Ethan told me. And I hope that I will be able to answer I hope all of your questions. And I hope that my presentation will reply to many of your questions you may have. So we can start. Yeah, okay. So there are two procedures in order to get the Greek citizenship. Is the procedure of direct acquisition and the procedure of naturalization. The procedure of direct acquisition is followed when one or both of parents are or were Greek citizens. There are some exceptions. I can mention them now if this helps the conversation later. The exceptions are even if we find that one or both of parents were Greek, there is a case that we might not find documents which support this, meaning that there are no archives in the Greek authorities. In this case, unfortunately, and I will explain later why I use the word unfortunately, we have to follow the process of naturalization. The process of naturalization is followed when grandparents or great-grandparents or ancestors in general were Greek citizens. So let's speak about the procedure of direct acquisitions. I will explain what are the steps that are followed. So first and the most important is to find the Greek documents that prove the Greek citizenship of the parents. And for this, we need the genealogy. Or using simplest word, let's say we need the family tree of the applicant. I know that you will ask me how we made the genealogy, and for this reason, I'd like to speak a little bit about the Jewish community of Thessaloniki, and my very good friend and responsible for the archive of the Jewish community of Thessaloniki, Mrs. Aliki Aru. Maybe most of you know the name or you have already met Aliki. She is making the genealogy of the applicant, or let's say of all the people that visit the Jewish community, and they are interested in finding the Greek roots. And I really need this genealogy because, I have some cases that people came and told me, oh, I have already the genealogy by my father, by my grandfather. And to be honest, it didn't help me a lot because the names are written differently in Greece and in Latin. So I sent them directly to Aliki and told them, please, I need the genealogy made from Mrs. Aruch because she knows exactly how we pronounce the name, how we write the name. So we start from the Jewish community of Thessaloniki, or if the ancestor was from another place of Greece, I have to speak with the relevant Jewish community of the residents of the ancestor. If all goes well and Aliki or I don't know, the other person who can make a genealogy in Greece gives me the information. Basically, I need dates, years of birth, of death, of marriages, in order to apply to the Greek authorities. So the next step is to gather all the required documents that prove the relationship between the Greek ancestor and the applicant. Basically, the marriage certificate of parents and the birth certificate of the applicant. All the documents that are not in Greek must be apostilled and translated in Greek. Then we apply either in the place of the residence of the applicant or directly in Greece. This is something very new because in the past we didn't have this possibility to apply directly in Greece. If you ask me if there is an advantage of applying directly in Greece, is that we save time. Otherwise, if the file goes through the consulate, it depends on the consulate when they will send the file in Greece. Then the file is examined by the Greek authorities, and particularly from the Department of Citizenship, and we escape the part of the interview, which must be followed in the process of naturalization. I will explain more about this when I proceed. And after this, we are in the final stage of the issuance of the decision by the Greek Ministry of Interior. The answer, again, the majority is positive, but in some cases, it can be even negative. And this is basically when there isn't how can I say, even if we find the information in Greece, maybe in the state, in the country of the residence, the name might be written differently, or there is a difference between the date of birth that I have found in Greece and the date of birth that it was declared when the ancestor, the parent of the applicant, went to basically in Israel or to another country, and he declared it differently, or because they didn't used to have documents with them as the majority of my clients told me that they just had the passport or they just went after the Holocaust, so they didn't have documents to prove it. This is the process of the direct acquisition. And now I'm moving to the next procedure, which is the procedure of naturalization. So basically, the first steps are common. We need to find the document that prove the Greek citizenship of the ancestors. Again, I need the genealogy. We have to gather then the required documents that prove the relationship with the ancestors. Again, birth certificates, marriage certificates, death certificates. Same with apostille and translation for the foreign documents. And then this is the difference. Here we can submit the application only to the Greek consulate of the place of residence. The consulate checks the file. Most of the time, they ask for some clarification, some additional documents, and then they invite the applicant for an interview with the consul. So during this interview, I know that it depends on the consulate, meaning that some consulates are really, really strict. They demand to have knowledge of almost everything that refers to Greece, meaning to know history, to know politics, to know geography, to know current situation, and even to know Greek, which is, okay, I know that it's something very difficult because Greek language is a difficult language, and not all the people are willing or are able to learn it. Some other are more flexible, and I know that especially the consulate of New York really helps the applicants. I have a personal experience with my client, Mr. Alan Maras. I don't know if he has managed to join us because he sent me that he was in a call. I hope that he will join later to describe a little bit his experience. And yeah, apropos, Alan got the Greek passport, and I'm really happy and proud because we had a difficult case. We just found a document of the brother of his great grandfather, mentioning that they were Greek citizens, and a document about the great grandfather mentioning that he was Greek, but it was an important document by the mail register of Thessaloniki. And with only these two documents, we started the process. And I was really anxious and worried because, our file wasn't fully completed with Greek document. But I told him, let's have a very good preparation of the rest documents and of your file in general. And he was very well prepared for the interview. So, and the consulate was really helpful. So he got the passport, and everything went very, very well. So after the interview, the consul makes a report mentioning if the applicant has the Greek spirit, meaning if he's connected with Greece and if he feels that Greece is his home and things like that. And then the file is sent to Greece, to the Ministry of Interior, meaning directly to Athens in the Department of Citizenship. Again, after a new control by the department, they issue the decision, which again, it can be positive or negative. In case of positive decision, the applicant is invited to the consulate to give the oath, and then he's registered to the register in Greece, and he can issue a Greek passport. In order to issue a Greek ID, the applicant needs to have a permanent address in Greece. So I don't think that most of the applicants really care about the Greek ID, but I know that the most important is the Greek passport. So in case of a negative decision, this happens when as they write the decision, the applicant hasn't proved that he has a Greek consciousness. The applicant can appeal the decision, or he can reapply after a year. It depends on the reason of the rejection. So about time estimation, for both the procedures, the time of the issuance of the decision depends on the consulate, on the officer who is charged with the file in Greece, and if the file is completed. So there are many factors that can influence the time of the decision. In the best of cases, it takes around 1.5 years. In the worst of cases, we can reach 4 or 5 years. For more information, of course, you can contact me. Here is my email, my phone number. I have WhatsApp, so you can use it. And that's all. Thank you. Ευχαριστώ πολύ. And I'm here to answer your questions or anything else you want.
Thank you so much. We'll take questions via the chat. I think will be the best option, and I'll read them out. So we'll try to get to as many questions as we can. So if you do have a question, please put it into the chat, and we'll try to get to it as well. We have a couple of questions already that came in. One question here: do great-grandparents qualify? So not the grandparents, but great-grandparents, right? Multiple generations back.
Yeah, great-grandparents. We can also apply if the great-grandparents were Greek.
Another question here. Many of our grandparents were born in Yarina, which was then under the Ottoman rule. How do you handle it when they were Ottoman citizens when they left?
You mean when they denied the Greek citizenship?
So when many of these families left, like let's say 1900, Yarina was still Ottoman Turkish before it became Greece.
Oh, okay. I got it.
How do you deal with that situation?
So it depends if the ancestor, especially the males one, were registered in the male register. Even if it was Ottoman territory, there was a Greek males register. So in this case, if we found registration, we can proceed. Because also in Thessaloniki, Thessaloniki was under Turkish occupation until 1912. But the male register starts since 1850. So it doesn't matter that it was Ottoman territory, as long as there's a registration in the male's register.
So that would be in the municipality's registry?
Yes.
Okay, so you have to go to the local municipality where the family was from.
Exactly. Exactly. And this is what, it's the first thing that the consulate checks. If there is a registration of the Greek ancestor in the male's register. And this is only for males. I want to notify it because based on this, the men served the army. Unfortunately, the women weren't registered somewhere. So if we have a Greek female ancestor, things are a little bit more difficult because we have to find the female's father's registration.
Another question here. Can you talk about your role that you play and if we need to hire a lawyer to proceed with citizenship?
Well, in order to file the Greek documents, you definitely need a lawyer because we know me and the other colleagues that are occupied with these cases, we know where to search and how to search. Then if you have all the documents, you can apply directly. You don't need to hire a lawyer to apply. But I think that a lawyer should have a supportive role during all the procedure.
So you're saying that your role is more of secondary to help gather the documents and deal with things like translation and apostille, legal
Yeah, and okay, in some cases, well, I have a supportive role until until the interview. I can advise them how they can prepare themselves for the interview, and what happened after. I can follow up the case in Greece, in the Greek Ministry of Interior, because we need sometimes because it takes time. I can press a little bit the ministry to issue the decision and to save time.
Another question here. If a person receives approval for their citizenship, what is the status of the spouse, of their spouse?
Unfortunately, the spouse can't have Greek citizenship. It's only for the applicant and his children. If they are minor, they get immediately when the parent takes. If they are adults, they have to apply separately after the decision of the parent.
One question here as well. My grandfather's birth certificate from Thessaloniki doesn't exist since the Nazis occupied the town and took his records. So where can I find proof of that birth?
From the mail's register.
Okay, so the municipality should still have the records as well, even if, let's say, if some of the records were lost in the family.
Yes, because when a male child was born, and the father declared the birth in the register, then the register automatically register him to the mail register.
Another question. Does the translation have to be done officially through the apostille?
Yeah, both documents must be translated, the foreign document and the apostille, but the translator must be even a translator of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or a Greek lawyer or by a translator from the Ionian University. Only these translations are accepted. If the applicant uses a translator, how can I say, that is not in this list, then they reject the translations, unfortunately.
Where does one obtain an apostille?
Sorry, I lost you.
Where does someone obtain an apostille?
I think it depends on the country. I know that in the USA, it differs from state to state. So the applicant should contact his, I don't know, his the authorities of his residence in order to get the information.
So I can tell you from the brotherhood's perspective, when we've had to apostille documents for our purposes, you have to go to the state of residency and go to the Secretary of State's office. There's a special office with the Secretary of State of the state, so New York State Secretary of State.
Exactly.
And there's an office of apostille and foreign documents. You have to go there and submit paperwork and pay a small fee, and then they will apostille the documents and send it back to you. Apostille.
Exactly.
Can you speak more about the interview process and what you mean by a Greek spirit?
Yeah. Okay. First they ask if you can speak Greek. So I think it's very positive if someone knows some very, very basic Greek, meaning kalimera, τι κάνεις, είμαι καλά. So you can, the applicant can use, if he wants a bilingual program, just to learn some basic Greek and show his intention, to show his intention that he wants to uh, start some lessons or something like that. Then it's good to, to know some basic things about Greece. For example, who is the prime minister? Who is what are our official holidays? Some of our islands. The capital is Athens. The biggest island is Crete. Or if he has visited Greece, he can mention this to show that, oh, I was in Greece, I visited this place, I love this. So I think if someone can use some of the experience or something that impressed him regarding Greece, he can guide the conversation to that point and make a good impression. I don't think I don't know. I'm not sure if I helped to clarify it.
I think you gave a good summary.
Okay.
Another question here: will a ship manifest, meaning the document that the grandparents left with to show they came from, let's say, the port of Thessaloniki to New York?
Mm-hmm.
So that
Mm-hmm.
ship manifest
Mm-hmm.
ticket, essentially, will that be sufficient as demonstrating Greek heritage from a grandparent?
Not only this, we need something from a Greek authority, meaning we need a public Greek document. So we need to find, even if not for the direct ancestor, meaning the ancestor who got in the boat, even from the family that was in Greece before the departure, and even for brothers, even for uncles, something that, but it must be from a public Greek authority, not only the departure documents.
Let's see. Here's another question. This person was born in Greece and she does have a Greek birth certificate. Does
Mm-hmm.
she need to get her parents' marriage certificate as well to apply for formal citizenship? And if so, how does she do that?
Yeah, they usually ask it. They ask the marriage certificate. So again, we should check in the register.
So the municipal archive registry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever the town your parents were from, you would just go to that town or work with the consulate to go to that town, mm-hmm. to the municipal marriage archives, essentially.
Exactly.
Let's see. Another question here. Would a person's parents' Greek passports be sufficient? So if the parents were Greek citizens and they still have Greek passports, would that be a sufficient document to provide?
Yes, of course, the Greek passport is a very strong evidence that the Greek and the ancestors were Greek. However, there is a big issue. I want to mention this now. In 1955, there was a census in Greece. So people that weren't present that moment, automatically they lost the Greek citizenship. And it's very common to find in the mail register that this man was registered, but he lost the Greek citizenship due to this decision of 1955. This is a very unfair, I can't use another word, because many people lost the Greek citizenship without even knowing it, and I have cases like this. So in this case, again, it depends on the consulate. For example, in the consulate of uh, Tel Aviv, they told me no, if the registration of the ancestor is not valid, we can't proceed to the examination of the application. Some other consulates were more flexible. They told me, okay, he was erased, but if you have all the rest documents, we will see what we can do, maybe through the process of naturalization. So yes, again, it depends.
Another question, how does someone request the mail registration records of the municipality if we're based here in the US? So someone's, grandparents are born in Thessaloniki, they live here. How are they going to
Yeah.
go to the municipality in Thessaloniki and say, can you please show me the birth records from the mail list for my grandfather, 100 years ago?
You can use me.
Okay, so that's when the attorney comes in.
You can use me, yeah.
Someone asked here, what does an apostille mean? An apostille is basically an international treaty agreement. Basically, it verifies that the document you're providing is legitimate, and it shows another country's government that it's a legitimate document. So whenever you do special business or citizenship processes with any country, you need to have your birth certificate and naturalization papers, whatever, domestically, apostilled by the government you live in to show the other government this is a legitimate copy of that document. It's a standard practice globally. One person asked, do you need to give up your American citizenship if you receive your Greek citizenship?
No, Greece accepts multiple citizenships.
Is there a time limit on the validity of the apostille once you receive it?
I don't think so. I think that they don't expire.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Another interesting question. What if a grandfather, right, had Greek citizenship, but left Greece as a child before serving in the Greek army? Is the grandchild of that person still eligible for Greek citizenship? So you understand?
Now, can you repeat it?
Sure. So suppose it's my papu. So my grandfather leaves Greece, born in Greece, but he leaves Greece before serving in the army.
Okay.
So am I, the grandchild, eligible for citizenship if he left before his army service?
So the grandchild will serve the army?
No, the grandfather didn't serve in the army, but he left before he had to serve.
In this case, there is a notice in the mail register that he didn't serve the army. So he lost the Greek citizenship because of this.
So am I, as the grandson, still eligible for citizenship?
That's what I told you before. If the ancestor lost the Greek citizenship and there's no registration, we have to fight it and be very, very well prepared. And of course, we are depending on the consulate that will examine the application if they will accept or not. Things are not very easy if we don't have the registration, but if we have all the rest document and a very good preparation, I think we can make it.
Another person would like to know, what are your general fees that you charge for your services?
It depends on the case. I can't tell because some cases are, I have all the documents, so it's more easy to proceed. Some other are harder, so I have to make deeper research and things like that. So I have to see each case and tell a price. But I'm not very expensive, don't worry. I don't want to. I'll tell you something personal, and I think that I have clients that are connected here, so they can verify it. I'm very attached to each case. I feel them like family, like relatives that want to find the roots. So I don't like to take advantage of it and get money, because the most important is, it's the personal family story of each case. So I when I start the case, in the end, we are friends and no more clients, and that's why this is most important for me than money.
Lovely. Another question here. Are men who receive Greek citizenship abroad, right? An American who receives Greek citizenship, is he required to serve in the Greek army?
Hmm. Well, as a resident of abroad, no, he doesn't have the obligation to come and serve the Greek army. Well, maybe I have to check it, because this is changes. Um, in a certain age, when he becomes 40, uh, he has to pay something to the government, let's say, in order to buy the military service. Or it's not very high, and this changes. So I think in the year by year, this will disappear, because it's not a permanent residence of Greece, so they don't oblige him to serve the army.
Another question here. So if I end up applying and receiving my citizenship, and my spouse is obviously not covered by that citizenship, would that spouse still be eligible to live in Greece with me, even if that spouse doesn't have citizenship?
Yes, if the couple comes to Greece and they have a permanent residence in Greece, then the spouse can take a residence permit as a spouse of a Greek citizen.
And then if the person who applies for citizenship has children who are minors under age 17, do they have to apply separately, or once I receive?
They take automatically with the parent, because we are enclosing in the application the birth certificate of the children to show that they are minor.
Let's see what else we have here. One moment. Another question is, where do we find that list of certified translators for documents if we have to translate our birth certificate or the apostille? Where is that posted?
For English translation, I can take care of them because I'm a lawyer, and they accept my translation. But for documents in Hebrew, if you Google a certified translator of Hebrew in Greece, of the of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the list will pop up.
So,
but for English translation, yeah, I take care of them.
Right. So you either go to the attorney, Krisa, who will help basically do it for you as a service, as a part of her service, or you would have to basically go to the consul general and ask them.
About, you mean the translations, the English one?
Yeah.
No, I make the translation. I validate them to the Bar Association of Thessaloniki, because the lawyers, we are certified translators, recognized by the Greek state. I verify my signature and my translation by the Bar Association, and then I can send them to the applicant to submit them to the consulate.
Approximately how much does the Greek government charge for the naturalization process? How much are the Greek state fees?
I think you pay something to the consulate, but I'm not sure. It depends on the consulate.
What has been your experience with the different consulates in America? or some better than others when working with them, like New York versus San
Yeah,
Francisco?
New York. Yeah, I can say New York consulate is very helpful, and I can say that they work fast. On the other hand, I'm not very satisfied with the consulate in Tampa.
In
Uh,
Florida.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I
Tampa.
don't
Okay.
have a very good experience, and yeah, also my client. It's a long story. A client came, she told me that okay, let's talk together. I said okay. Then he went to the consulate in Tampa, and they told him, no, 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 we will find you a lawyer from our consulate. He told me, you understand? Yeah, no problem. You can proceed with the colleague, my colleague. And after some months, he called me and told me, that lawyer that introduced me, she wasn't a lawyer, finally. Okay,
Wow.
so it's a crazy story. Yeah, it's a crazy story. And he's still fighting to clarify it, whatever. And I have also a personal experience with the Council of LA. In one case, they were very good. For another case, they were very hostile. So it was, yeah, how the officer wake up every morning, you can say.
If you become a Greek citizen, do you then have to pay Greek taxes for the state if you
No,
live?
you don't pay Greek taxes
It's
unless
only,
you buy property in Greece.
unless you buy property.
Yeah, but even in this case, we don't have so much. Our taxes are not as high in USA, of course.
Let's see. I'm just trying to look through the different questions because there are a lot of duplicates. Can I apply through my, that my father or my grandfather were citizens, even though they're not alive anymore?
Yeah, of course. And also, I want to mention something. Let's say that the grandfather was Greek, the father is still alive, and the son, the grandson, wants to apply. The father doesn't have to apply first in order then the son applies, meaning that we can skip the father if he doesn't want to apply, and the son, the grandson, can apply directly without needing the father.
What if the relative of the person is from a different municipality, like from Kastoria originally, or Kavala, or from Athens, etc.? Even though you're from Thessaloniki, you're still able to help with the services to
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
because the nationals board. It's like a
Yeah,
national.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Have you had any experience working with the embassy in DC, in Washington?
No, I don't know about Washington.
So you may not need to pay taxes, but do you need to apply for things like social security fees and like health insurance fees from the state?
No, 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 nothing.
Do you recommend that siblings apply together at the same time, like brother and sister apply in the same application?
I think they have changed it now. You can apply in a common application, the siblings. They have to submit separate application, but I think it can be done, but not together. I mean, in a common application.
And do you have any experience? This is very much more specific questions, but do you have any experience with the San Francisco consulate in California?
Uh, no, not yet.
Not yet. That's the key.
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh, here's an interesting question.
Mm.
Someone was told many years ago by the Greek consulate in Boston
Mhm.
that they weren't eligible for citizenship because it was the mother's side, the female side, that were
Mhm.
Greek citizens. And has that changed, or that's still the policy that it's only is it matrilineal or patrilineal, basically?
Uh, no, it has changed, of course, and I think it was always like that. I don't know why the consulate said that. Probably they didn't want to take care of this. You can apply even from maternal, even for or paternal side. But as I told you before, for maternal side, we need the registration of the grandfather because women didn't used to be registered until 1950.
Can you just remind us very briefly the difference between, again, the direct versus naturalization, just the
Mm-hmm.
main differences?
Yeah. The direct is when the parent, one or both, were Greek. The naturalization is for grandparents or great grandparents. And the only difference is that in the direct process, we can apply directly in Greece, whereas in naturalization, only through the consulate of the residence of the applicant.
Okay, so I think that's all the time we have for questions for today. I'm sorry if we didn't get to your question, but you have Chrisa's email right over here. You can email her, you can send her a WhatsApp with questions as well. And her services are available, right? She is a Greek attorney who is happy to help with the citizenship process and support you as part of her attorney, her job as a lawyer in Greece. So I want to say Chrisa so much for joining us this evening, all the way from Thessaloniki.
Thank you
Uh,
too.
which I
Thank you
hope
for the
we're gonna.
invitation, Ethan.
I
And
know it's our pleasure.
it was a pleasure meeting you, all of you, even if I didn't see all of you. But
And also, we
it
hope we
was
can get
a
to see
great.
you. We hope we get to see you when we go to do our Jewish tour of Greece and the Balkans this summer. For those of you who don't know, we're having an amazing Jewish tour of Greece and the Balkans, and we're stopping in Thessaloniki and Salonika
Of
for
course,
Shabbat. So we'll
of
be happy to
course,
see you in July, hopefully.
of course. Looking forward to meeting you.
Very good. Thank you all so much for joining us. And again, this is a part of the Sephardic Brother of America in partnership with Kiyel Kadosh Yanana. If you're ever interested in learning more about our programs, please visit our website at sephardicbrother.com. We say taleme in Greek. We'll see you
Τα
later.
λέμε.
Yeah.
Γεια
Yeah.
σας. Ευχαριστώ.